he's watching TV one night. This is in like the late 80s, 88, 89. And we just moved to McCollum Lake. He's watching some program on TV about reverse osmosis. Mm-hmm. And it's talking about like how good this filtration is for your children in their early development years, when they're young. Mm-hmm. You just never know what's in your water, et cetera, et cetera. I explained we live paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. I think he spent $1,200 to buy a reverse osmosis like the next day.
Shoot.
Well, and here's the other part. Like, so he saw that like at nighttime, he gets a call from a reverse osmosis place to sell one to him that next day. And he felt like it was just like a sign. Mm-hmm. I saw the commercial last night. I felt compelled. Mm-hmm. And now somebody's calling me. I can't say no. Mm-hmm. He was in the moment and he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this because I care about my kids. And I feel like this could be important. He talks to my mom about it and he's like, I did this. I ordered this. And so we only had like 3 friends on that block at the time. And they started coming over and filling up our water in a jug and bringing it back to their house. So like my dad saved us from getting brain cancer.
Didn't you tell me that like it was later discovered the cancer was linked to what was in the water?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And if you look it up, if anybody wants to, maybe I can put it on the show notes for my testimony, but I can find some articles on it. But it's really hard to, you know how it is, the political game, and everything gets settled outside of court and everything. And it's pretty much been like dismissed, but there are articles on it. And it's pretty profound, I think. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that was a God thing. Knowing my dad to spend that much money, Yeah, so that was a trip. Anyway, so during this time of debauchery, mm-hmm. there were some real low points. And I mean, I smoked weed and I drank. I had tried shrooms and stuff. But I don't like to say I was like an addict. And I don't think any addict wants to say that. I don't think I was an addict because I didn't need it like every day. I just did it socially. My true addiction was music. My true addiction was like doing what I was doing. Anyway, one night, I'm on my way back from a party, and I'm pretty hammered. I'm driving. And I swerve into like the middle lane, or like the line that separates the double lanes. And all of a sudden I see cherry lights behind me flashing. There's no way if I blew on a breathalyzer, I would pass. That's probably like 5 miles from like my place or my parents' place. Yeah, I'm a loser. I'm like living with my parents and I'm drunk driving. Real cool. The cop pulls me over, and I'm not going to say what I said to him, but he's like, hey, you smell like alcohol. I lied and lied and lied some more.
I can't lie!
I was like, I'm going to lie till I go to jail. There's no way I'm going to admit anything to this guy. I'm just going to just try to play it. I'm going to be friendly, and I'm just going to play the part of a sober person going home that's just tired. Mm-hmm. I basically made up a bunch of excuses. I said, oh, no, man, I'm so tired. I have to work in the morning. I worked late. I said some things. I'm not going to say what I said. It was very inappropriate. They're kind of perverted guy talk things. Mm-hmm. And whatever I said made him laugh. I don't know how this happened. I don't know if he actually, it was what I said or it was just like a miracle, but he got a call on his walkie, like more fish to fry type of call.
Mm-hmm. Bigger fish. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got out. I would have got a DUI, no problem. Mm-hmm. That was one of those moments like, I got to slow it down. Mm-hmm. You just got like a get out of jail free card. Mm-hmm. You better not mess this up again. Mm-hmm. I was so far away from God, I didn't even know who God was. Mm-hmm. By this point, I had pretty much accepted that all roads lead to heaven. I was really into stand-up comedy when we'd tour. I was into like David Cross, this comedian. And, the way he'd talk like evolution, with its proven facts and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh yeah, it's so,
it's so
these stupid scientists. Like, he'd be so sarcastic. And he was an intelligent dude, but like Zionist. He He
You anti-Semitic, you.
he was so vehemently against Christianity and anything to do with.
The South has a certain kind of ignorance that is deeper and truer, more unwavering and steadfast than in ignorance than the rest of the country has, you know? And just for lack of a better term, let's call it Southern Baptist, you know, just so we have something we can label it as.
Baptist, Southern Baptist. But at the same time, we think about movies, the dangers of action movies and horror movies. Yeah, those are bad, like demon movies and things like that. I'm starting to think that comedy is probably the worst, in my opinion, because it appeals to so many people in its nature of just playfulness, and it just diverts you away from the Lord.
Yep.
That's what David Cross did to me. I really got into David Cross and all kinds of other stand-up. Before you know it, it's all roads lead to heaven, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I don't want to think about who God is. There's a God. I never didn't believe in God, but I just didn't want to think about it anymore, and I just wanted to be selfish. I continued in my way, and I should have learned my lesson from the drunk driving incident, because then I went to a Dave Matthews concert with this chick that I was seeing. Everybody in the car is high. Everybody in the car is drunk. I'm in the passenger side. She's driving. The two people in back of me are the people that brought the weed. And we're on our way back from this concert in Wisconsin, like heading to Illinois. And a cop pulls us over. Check this out. The girl I was seeing who was driving, he made her do a breathalyzer right there. Takes her into the car. Tells the two to get out of the car. Wants to check. And this dude stuck his weed underneath the girl's seat. He was so sleazy. So he framed her. On his side though, the pipe was still there and he must have forgot about it. So he got busted and she got busted for each of them on each side of the car. I'm the only one left in the car, and he has nothing to find on me because I don't buy weed. I smoke it occasionally when my friends smoke it, they buy it. Just by default, I'm the only one left that can even get any of them out of jail. But I can't drive. He does a breathalyzer on me. He's like, sorry, man, I can't do anything for you. I can't even give you a ride anywhere. Apparently, you can only give me a ride if I'm in trouble. But
I had some of that. We'd get in the car.
and I just want to send a shout out to somebody who came and pretty much rescued me from that situation. A girl named Hannah. She probably won't listen to this. I don't think she's a believer, but thank you for that. She pretty much rescued all of us from that situation. That was messed up. And also around that time, I was starting to do some harder stuff. And I got into trying acid.
Right.
I only did acid 3 times. I think I did mushroom 3 times. All I can tell our audience is that what I saw was another dimension. Whether or not it was a hallucination and it was all in my mind, I don't know. But what I saw was the most intense thing that I've ever seen.
I do recall, if my memory serves me correct, reflecting upon a time when energy it did connect, connecting every star in the sky above and beyond the average spectrum of sight, sighting planet differences are sighted.
When I looked up at the stars at night when I was on LSD, the stars connected. I could see constellations. I had never seen constellations besides the Big Dipper in my life. So I'm connecting all these stars, and before I know it, everything's this gigantic grid. I'm like, what? There's a grid, surrounding us, we're under a dome. That was the moment where I said, I think this whole world's controlled by something. Not by God, there's somebody in charge of this whole system, and I'm not saying that's true in the sense that I meant it then, but I was starting to go through those thoughts in my mind. Anyways, all I can say is I stopped doing them after a few times because it was so crazy. I didn't like what it was doing. I felt like my brain was like literally scrambled. So I went back to playing shows. We were about to release our second album and go on tour and stuff. And I get this call from a dude that I worked with at that court reporting place at the same building. He was in a different company somewhere, like in a different suite. And he's like, yo, I'm making this dance record. And he like loved my style. He's like, I really like the new Dorm Life stuff. How do you feel about singing on one of my electronic songs? And so that was what would begin Boom Juice.
That was Dave.
That was Dave.
Oh, okay.
I made a song on his record, and it did pretty well around our area in the Chicago area. Not radio wise, but it was, people liked it and were singing it at his show, and we were like, yeah, we got to make a whole record. But that's later on. That was when I met Dave before we formed Boom Juice, and we did a song together. Then I meet this chick, and I had been through so many, you can't even call them relationships. It was just debauchery. So I meet this girl who pretty much ruined me. I mean, if you could be damaged goods, I was damaged goods after she was done with me, because
At first it seems so clean until you clean my jeans out and inside empty in my pockets. Unchanged, time to change when the only thing changing is a channel on a Sony television. And it seems to me if your nose was clean, your sense of smell, it wouldn't be enhanced when in fact just by chance there's a chance that I might have cash and now I'm cash out on my limit.
I've never been so low in my life. I went on tour, and we were kind of seeing each other at the time, and we started dating while I was on tour, probably because I was just lonely on tour and whatever, and it was really not going so well. And by the way, my sister had joined Dorm Life at the time, and she played piano on the record, and she was touring with us. She's one of my best friends, and I didn't mention this before, but in 2003, my sister, she'd like just graduated, and I'm a really heavy sleeper, and we were at my parents' house in the morning and on a weekday, and they would have both been at work. Well, my sister had a seizure in the shower, and she hit her head, and she's like gurgling in the bathtub, but I didn't wake up to it. My parents just so happened to take that day off, and that was when the relationship with my sister and I totally, at least for me, it changed, where I cared about her way more. Like I almost lost her. So it wasn't too hard to ask her to be in my band later on because we were such good friends. So I get back from tour. It was horrible. And just to throw out, because I talked about New York City and we played the Knitting Factory, which was kind of like a cool venue, but we played the Bottom. Right. There's this place in LA, total, opposite coast here. We played the Roxy, which is like another pretty awesome venue out there, or well-known venue out there. But we played the upstairs in this little bar called On the Rocks. When you say you tour, people have this idea that you are in a bus and you're probably making a lot. My experience of touring is leaving with, a few $100 in my pocket, and hopefully we get paid enough for gas. Hopefully. That doesn't even cover food or lodging. Most of the time, we're spending the night in our vehicle.
Everything, but you'll never get paid.
It's not extravagant. Everything that I've ever been through was like, I had to try so hard at. Get back from that tour, I'm so burnt out. My sister had such a horrible time. The sentiment that I felt about Mike in touring and how he could be a little high-strung, she couldn't stand him.